It's a Wednesday evening, August 31st, 2022. This is PMAT, Memphis Metro Church, on live for your midweek encounter. I want to spend the next 15, 20 minutes with you to encourage you this week. Man, we've been in a great series, and we're going to continue in that series. I want to remind you to join us on Sunday mornings. Join us on Sunday mornings, 11:22 a.m. And so you need to know we are planning to launch a couple of things a little later this year. So we'll have a podcast that is connected to this ministry from your personal capacity coach. And 11:22 is also a month and a year. That's our start time on Sunday mornings, but it's also November of 2022. And we're going to be doing some special things over the course of that month. And so I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk a little bit more about it as the dates approach, but it's a great opportunity for you to get connected. So join us this coming Sunday at 11:22 a.m., 258 North Merton Street in the heart of Midtown Memphis. And so with that being said, I mean, we've got some good stuff to talk about tonight. As I mentioned earlier, the series that we have been engaged in is called I'm Changing My Mind. It's about the process of renewal and renovation of the mind. Renewal and renovation of the mind. So I want to jump into this today so you can have some insights in terms of how to properly posture yourself for change. How to properly posture yourself for change. Things can be different for your life. Things can be different towards closer towards the calling, the purpose, the destiny that God has for you. And so we want to make sure that you maximize your potential. And so the way to do that to start out is to change the mindset. If you change your mind, you change your outcomes. If you change your mind, you change your outcomes. If you change your mind, you change your outcomes. So I want you to know that. And so we've got people that'll be jumping on. And so if you happen to know somebody that needs to hear this kind of teaching, put their name in the comments so they can come back, take a look at this. And the reality is that this word can change your life in 15, 20 minutes. It can help you shift your thinking and start you on a different trajectory to give you a different outcome. You change your mind, you change your outcomes. All right, so we had been talking about how to seek and set. That was Colossians chapter 3. And so the thought of it here is that I want you to continue to seek after the kingdom and set your affection on the kingdom. Seek after the kingdom. That means to give your attention to God-centered things, to pursue the will of God, the heart of God, the mind of God, for that to be at the center of your core and existence. Am I here to serve my own purposes, or am I here to serve the purposes that God has for me? And so God connects you to the kingdom and then gives you opportunity to make covenant with the kingdom and to fulfill purpose with the kingdom. I gave you some things last week. Don't have time to go through all that. But you come to church on Sunday, we revisit some of this. We expand and expound on some of the theology for it. So for today, Romans chapter 12 is where we'll take you. And verse 2 is where we start. Most of us know that first verse. Paul is getting them to make the transition, right? He's preparing them to make the transition, not to live as they formerly had as it relates to sacrificing animals to gods. And so the Roman culture was very much aligned with the Greek culture. So who the Greeks called Zeus, the Romans called Jupiter. And so there was a Greek name translated to Roman culture. And so the Romans, in a lot of different instances, were serving false gods. And Paul was trying to get them to serve the true and living God. And so he comes to them. He says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you do something here, that you present your bodies as a living sacrifice. It's not about dead animals anymore. It's about you bringing yourself as the sacrifice. And so if you do that, you can prove what the will of God is, holy, acceptable, and will of God is. This is your reasonable service, that you present your body this way. And so in verse 2, he says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your minds. Paul didn't say that Jesus was going to do it for you. He says, you don't be conformed to this world, but you be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You have the power to transform the way your mind thinks. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Here's why. So you can discern what the will of God is, that good and acceptable and perfect will of God is. God's will is good, acceptable, and perfect in your life. You just have to get your mind ready to receive it. You have to posture your mind to receive the will of God. So in other words, you have to seek out the will of God. Set your affection towards the will of God. To understand the will of God. And so here's one of the first principles I want to give you tonight. And this may not be in the notes that I sent over, but look, if you are conformed to this world, you will be confined to this world. If you conform to this world, you will be confined to this world. This world will tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, who accepts you doing it. So if you conform to this world, you'll be confined to this world. And so you don't have to conform to this world. You can be conscientious of the kingdom. You can be made aware of the power of the kingdom. So if you conform to this world, you will be confined to this world. This world will dictate to you what you can and cannot do. I don't want this world dictating to me what I am, what I'm supposed to do. I need that to come from the kingdom. I need that to come from God. And so you have to have a mindset not to be conformed to this world, because if you conform to this world, you will be confined to this world. This world will do everything that it can to control you. If you conform to this world, you'll be controlled by this world. If you conform to this world, you'll be controlled by this world. I don't want to be controlled by this world. I want my control to be centered through a direct relationship with God. And so, for you to articulate the thoughts, the ideas, the encounters that you have with God, you have to have a shift in your mindset. And your mind has to be changed. Your mind has to be renewed. And that renewal is an ongoing process. When you renew your tags, you know what you do? You take that sticker and you take the old one off and you put the new one on. Right? When you renovate a room, you gut it out and you put in all new hardware. You put in different furniture. You do something to make the room new. And so there is a mentality and a mindset, that's your identity, that has to be renovated. It's got to be renewed, has to be made new. And so if you are conforming to this world, you are essentially making covenant with this world. Okay, so I gave you three things there. So if you conform to this world, you're confined to this world. If you conform to this world, you're controlled by this world. If you conform to this world, you're making covenant with this world. And so I don't want the covenant of this world. I don't want the confinements of this world. I don't want the control of this world. I am otherworldly. You are otherworldly. And so you got to connect to the kingdom. Your connection has to be made to the kingdom. And so Paul is intentional about writing this because he recognizes that the mindset is the thing that can draw them back into a place of digression. At one point, they're growing, but then they go back to an old way. And so part of the dynamic here for our understanding is that the mindset needs to have an appetite for renewal. The mindset needs to have an appetite for renewal. You have to put the diet in place in order to train your mind on what to think and what to believe. Not the things of this world. This world will keep you confined. This world will keep you controlled. And it will interrupt your connection with God. And so, in order not to form or not to conform to this world, you must have a mindset to change this world. You're not just here to participate in the world. You're here to change it. Train your mind on what to think and believe. You're not here to conform to this world. You must have a mindset to change the world. You're a world changer. I know a lot of us, we like to use that term. There are churches that are named, no, I'm a world changer. Okay. Well, change the world. How do you change the world? Jesus metaphorically spoke to us and told us that we were two things. He says, you are the salt of the earth and you are the light of the world. You're the salt of the earth. You're the light of the world. And so what you got to understand is that your life is supposed to have a taste and your life is supposed to have a look. Now, I don't want us to get caught up in this dynamic of superficial looks. But when I say that your life is supposed to have a taste, Jesus gave us distinct instructions to be the salt of the earth. To be the salt of the earth. That means we are designed to bring a flavor and element to whatever environment we exist in. Now, here's what we have to notice about salt. If you got a pound of meat, you don't have to have a pound of salt. You can simply sprinkle salt. And you don't have to have the same amount of salt to change the flavor of the meat. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And so Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth. That means you got to have a different mindset. You have to be different. Your DNA has to stick out. The flavor with which you exist in an environment has to stick out. And so salt has a taste, light has a look. Light exposes, illuminates, brightens. Light exposes, light illuminates, light brightens. And so when we are called to renew and renovate our thinking, we have to think about in ways, how can we brighten a situation, bring light to a situation? How can we do that? How can we change the context of an environment? Does our presence make a difference? If you taste like everybody else, then you might not be salt. If what's coming out of your mouth is the same thing that's coming out of everybody else's mouth, you may not be salt. Salt has a certain taste. And so you have to be the salt. That's the commandment. You are the salt of the earth. And trust me, God has sprinkled you in a place where he needs his flavor to be. He's put your light in a place where he needs to eradicate some form of darkness. And so you got to renew your mind. And so sometimes what we are in the thought and habit of doing is asking God to come in and do things when he put you there to be the thing that needs to be done. For you to be the salt and for you to be the light. For you to be the salt and for you to be the light. All right. Next thing. I'm running out of time already. See yourself. I'm giving you a mindset here. Giving you a mindset so you can change your outcomes. Giving you a mindset. You got to be salt and light. You got to see yourself as salt and light. See yourself as a diplomat, an ambassador to change this world. Not to conform to this world, but to change this world. Jesus came from another place to change this world. You know what John said when he saw Jesus for who he was? He says, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world." Can people see your purpose on you? Can people sense and see your purpose upon you? And so John saw Jesus and was able to identify at a certain point that he was here to change the world. And so you got to see your world for whatever it is within the context of your family, in the context of your career, in the context of generations of finances and things of that nature. You have to see how are you there to impact your world. This is part of kingdom work. And I gave us some dynamics on kingdom last week about culture of kingdom. And so you have to be a carrier of the kingdom. You got to carry kingdom with you. Kingdom has to travel with you. Kingdom don't go on vacation. Okay. So see yourself as a diplomat. We were recently in Washington, D.C., and we noticed while we were there several embassies. And every time I would see an embassy, I would make note of it because the embassy is designed to be a place of refuge for the visitor in that country. So if you happen to go overseas, you look for the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy is essentially dispatched as a result of the Secretary of State's office. It's to ensure that there are international relations being developed on an ongoing basis. And so if there's an ally that has an embassy here, that embassy is designed to make sure that the relationship with the United States stays in good standing. It's here to speak on behalf of that nation and how it's supposed to use its influence with the United States. You are here as an ambassador to speak on behalf of the kingdom. And your job is to make sure that this world understands the impact that the kingdom is supposed to have because of the kingdom that you represent. You don't just speak on your own behalf. You speak on behalf of the king. And in exchange for that, the king gives you quarters. The king gives you authority. The king gives you mandates. The king gives you purpose and function. The king gives you title. The king gives you resources. You become an ambassador, but you got to have the mindset of an ambassador. Not here for you. You're here for the kingdom. Not here for you. You're here for the kingdom. Okay. Um, uh, yeah, that's the right one. Um, Here are some of the responses your life will get when you decide to make changes. Okay. Here are some of the responses your life will get when you decide to make changes. I'm going to close out with this. I've been talking 20 minutes and 35 seconds. All right. The response your life will get when you decide to make changes. Change is hard, man. Change is hard. Change can be really, really hard. Change can be really hard and uncomfortable. Most of us don't like change. And so the thing is that if you're going to change, it's better that you be on the front end of the precipitation of the change so you can prepare yourself for what's coming. Okay. So change will produce chaos, which creates chasms. So stuff gets crazy after you make some changes. Some of the biggest thing that you will feel is separation from people once you decide to change. Chaos creates chasm. It's going to create isolation. You will not feel as connected to some people because of the changes that you've decided to make. Challenges, that's first one. Second one, challenges will chase you when you decide to make changes. I'm trying to be alliterative here, the CH. You got chaos and chasms, and challenges will chase you. Challenges will chase you. Challenges will hunt you down and be like, well, what did you say you were doing now? What did you say you were doing different? You will get tested on what you said you were changing. You'll get tested in the place that you have declared that you were making changes. So number one, chaos will create chasms. You'll see splits, fissures, fractures, breakups, isolation. You'll feel that. Secondly, challenges will chase you. You'll feel challenges coming after you because of what you have decided to do, what you have made up your mind to believe. And the last one here is you might have to charter a different course. You may have to figure out a different way to get to your destination. Now, let me just say this. Um, they said that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. That's what they teach us in math. And that's linear thinking. But most of us don't get to where we're going in straight lines. We don't. We get all kind of detours and stoppages, and stuff gets cut off. Bridges get broken down. We got to find another way. The truth of the matter is you get tested on your path to your calling. To reach the kingdom, to carry the kingdom. Those things, sometimes they charter a different course in your life. And it can be immensely frustrating, particularly when you know you are making sacrifices on behalf of the kingdom. Like, God, I'm giving up stuff and I'm letting stuff go and I'm letting people go. And this is painful and it hurts. And truth of the matter is sometimes we get caught up in our feelings. And our feelings make us feel exhausted. So here's what I need to tell you about your feelings before I get out of here. Your feelings don't have to be final. And your emotions are not eternal. Woo! Okay. Your feelings are not final, and your emotions are not eternal. Those things change. We need to get your mindset right. Your mindset needs to be focused on what you have been called to do. Be salt and be light. To set your mind on things above. Not to seek the things that are on the earth, but to seek the things that are above. To set your attention and affection on the kingdom. Your feelings are not final, and your emotions are not eternal. So get your mindset right. Don't let your feelings talk you out of destiny and purpose. Your feelings will change. You have to give them room to change. Sometimes you got to go to therapy to get them changed. Sometimes you need a coach to help those things change. That's fine. Do what you got to do, but don't let those things be final when God is supposed to be the authority in your life. It's 26 minutes, man. I'm way over. But I hope that blessed you tonight. I hope that helped you. Now, I said a lot in a little bit of time. We can unpack some of this on Sunday. We're going to be going through some of the what we would call the Sermon on the Mount, the teaching on the Mount, and show you how Jesus thought. So this mind that was in him can be here between your two ears. Join us Sunday morning, 11:22 a.m., 258 North Merton Street, Midtown Memphis. Go to our website, click the iMetro link, fill out that information, fill out the form. We'll get connected to you so you can be a part of our e-church, be an iMember. You can be a part of our physical church here in the city of Memphis. And we look forward to seeing you. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is PMAT at Memphis Metro Church. Hey, this Saturday, there is an event, brunch, Sister Story Sessions. Ladies, check that out. Check that out. Brunch and Blessing, Saturday, 11 a.m. Be a part of that. It's going to be great. Friday night, they got something special over at Powerhouse. Powerhouse Ministries, my friend Corey Pryor, his church, 1350 Norris Road, Friday, September 2nd. That's this coming Friday, 7 p.m. That's for everybody. That's men, women, all that. So be a part of that. Ladies, you don't want to miss that. If you watch the Sister Story Sessions, great stuff. That's all my time. I'm out. This is PMAT for Memphis Metro Church Fellowship, Leadership, Worship. We're out.